Hello everyone and welcome back to E2E. Today we are starting to build the nuclear power plant, and as you can see I have got the nuclear cooling tower built up right here. Alright, basically it is the immersive engineering one. I believe if I get out my manual here, turbine power systems and the cooling tower, here we go. Basically this giant construction right here, you build up, you hit it with a hammer, and then it eventually turns into the cooling tower right here. So this is pretty good. This took me, I think, about 4 or 5 hours to design, just to be sure that I got it the right size and it actually looks nice. Yeah, I'm kidding, of course. This is way too small. This is the cooling tower that I've actually built in the last 4 to 5 hours. Okay, so here we go. It's got, you know, the whole hyperboloid shape. It's got the supports down here. We got the steam coming out the top. And I did have to look up some diagrams to understand how these work. So we've got all of the hot water pipes and the steam coming out from the top going all the way up to the top of the cooling tower. All right. I thought I would start recording now that I've got one of the towers done. Basically, we're going to put another one on the other side. We're going to build a big kind of building, and then we're going to put some like antenna-looking tower thingies. I don't really know what those are for, but it seems like a lot of the power plants that I've been looking at for inspiration have them. So we're just going to kind of put them in and, you know, assume that they're necessary for something. I don't know. This took forever to build because it is very hard to get this design right. If anyone wants to try to build a nuclear cooling tower, here's my advice. Don't. It's very hard, and there is no easy way to do it. I mean, you could do it with some weird circle shenanigans, but then it just looks like you stacked a bunch of circles on top of each other, and it doesn't really look like a cooling tower. I don't know. I had to do a whole bunch of shaving and reorganizing. I mean, man, it was painful. But I think we got it to a good enough state that it actually looks pretty good. Now, the steam also wasn't too hard to make. Basically, all I did, I took some cloud blocks, I looked at one block, I held S and space, so I go like this, and then I spammed a spam click macro. And I just did that a whole bunch until it looked like kind of steam is coming out. Next up, we're going to copy paste this over here to build a second one. We're going to build a factory building, maybe more to the right, so we can put some other like roads, you know, pipes, blah, 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 whatever in between here. And then all we'll have to do is get that pasted in to the world. And then once we have that pasted in, we can finally work on getting Californium RTGs. I have laid that out over here. I've done some testing over there, but we'll get there when we get there. Why don't we get the rest of this building done first, and then we can start figuring out exactly how to get the RTGs. Alrighty, I'd say that's some pretty good progress. Honestly, I didn't really know what I was going to do for this building, so I kind of just threw something together. And I kind of like it. I mean, it's not very detailed, besides the fans on the roof, but honestly, I think it kind of suits this. You know, this is supposed to be like a huge power plant. It doesn't really need to look that nice. It needs to just look like a power plant. And honestly, I'd say that does it. So now I think I'm just going to go add some details to it, because right now, it's a little too simple, you know? It's just cobblestone and gravel, cooling towers, and a factory building. So we're going to add some light posts, we're going to add some roads, maybe a couple of small cars here and there. I don't really know. We're going to add some towers, we're going to add some lights. Honestly, just a few things to make it look kind of nice. Alright, well, why don't we just kind of... much better. Alright, so let's see. I guess we'll start from the front. So we got a little kind of check-in gate, you know. Here's the guy that sits at the front gate, you know. You scan your card in, and then the little, you know, flapper thingy goes up. There we go. Looking good. I also added a bunch of fans to the ceiling. I know they're off center here. These are like positional in the world. You don't place them down and they just work. This is like based on a position. So we'll just have to make sure we place this in the exact position that these fans are fully complete. Let's see, I've also added this cooling pipe with supports. This is basically what shoves, well, I guess this isn't really a cooling pipe. This is the hot water pipe. It shoves the superheated water into here, which is the coolers, because these cooling towers is what cools down the water, and that's why, and that turns the generator, and then it releases the extra steam. So that's kind of what that is. I've also added a bunch of these little trucks carrying blocks of uranium on them. We also added this kind of big flashy thingy. I don't know what this is. I don't know what it does. Okay, there's that. And then down here, we've got another truck. We've got a lead-lined box. This is made out of lead blocks and lead sheet metal, which is where we store all of the nuclear materials. Basically just a bunch of blocks of uranium. That's pretty good. And then over here, we kind of got like a little building. I also keep seeing buildings with domes on top, so I put a building with a dome on top. Again, I don't know what that does, but we have them. Come in here. This is kind of like a, you know, if you need to stay the night or something, or you're working the night shift, you want to go to bed, and then you can come in here. This is like kind of the employee area, you know? Okay, so I think that's about all that I added. I mean, I did add a couple cars back here, maybe some of these little like pipe thingies. I really don't know what those do. Okay, so I guess the last thing that I did was I cut out pieces in the floor here. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint glowstone to look like this laboratory blocks, and then we're going to place glowstone in the floor, so then it will light up the entire building. I think it is done now. So now we get to do the very fun process of copy pasting it over there, because I'm fairly certain this is too big to fit in one. So we're going to have to fit it in like 5. So let me just see how big this can go. Oh my God, I can actually do that? Wow. I did not think it would let me do that much. Okay, well, never mind. Maybe I'll just try that. Anyways, but I'll get this copied over, and then we'll have the largest material list you've ever seen together. Oh boy. Alrighty, we are back on the server, and I did have to split that blueprint into 5 pieces, because apparently you can only do a 32,768 block radius, or a 32 by 32 by 32. Otherwise, it will be too large to copy. Supposedly. So thanks for that. So anyways, I've got all 5 of the templates here, and as you can see, this is going to be a rather large resource list, and I would like to get all of this stuff as the actual blocks, because I have learned my lesson from building this building. Although it is a lot easier to do construction paste, if you hold the vein mine button in your base, you're going to lose a lot of it. So I really want to avoid that happening, especially in buildings where things could melt down, such as nuclearcraft. Okay, anyway, so as you probably saw in my inventory, I've also got enough stuff here to build redstone seeds. I'm running out of redstone, and I kind of need some more. That's like one of the things that I can't really get. There are a few ways that I could do it, though. I could sieve dust and make a setup like that, or I could just get the redstone seeds, and since we had that, I might as well just get the redstone seeds. Not a whole bunch of hassle with setting up a big machine. You just have to set up a garden cloche. Thank you to the little bit of astral sorcery that I've done. So let's see. Why don't we just go put this over here in this? I'm actually going to move this because this has been being powered while I was farming up hemp fiber. We are going to need hemp fiber to make the cloud blocks, and I thought I'd just get ahead on some of these things because I knew I was going to need cloud blocks. So anyways, we got 447 stacks. That should hopefully be enough for 5,000 cloud blocks. We've gotten so much of this stuff, we have filled up on coal and iron ore. So I think I'm just going to move this. Yeah, it really doesn't need to be anywhere specific. We can just put it here, and then that will grow the redstone essence. Yep. And albeit it is a little slow right now, but that's okay because we're going to be doing a lot of AFKing and a lot of crafting, as you've seen here by this material list. So honestly, I'm not that worried about it. I guess we'll do a little montage of gathering resources. Probably not a lot, but we will do a little, because I guarantee you it's going to be incredibly boring watching me craft 30,000 factory blocks, because it's quite literally the same recipe and then you just chisel it. Alrighty, yeah, that was a lot of crafting and gathering. I think that took me about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours just to get everything that we needed there. Yeah, that's a bit much. But anyways, all that we have left now is to get marble in these two. Here, let me actually grab the dank null out. If you didn't see, I made more dank nulls just so I could store items. But anyways, all we need now is we need a bunch of marble. This is just for markers. We're going to use building paste for that. And then we also need another 4,200 marble for this one. So basically, we're just waiting for marble to grow. Now, of course, I could go gather it to increase the speed of that. But I need to get more redstone anyway. You know, I'm not going to go mine marble. That's just going to take forever. So we'll give this a little bit of AFK, and we'll be back when the marble's ready. Oh, would you look at that? I've just logged in, and there's bugs everywhere. Lovely. Well, anyways, I was going to say that we have acquired the marble finally. I think I think I overdid it just a little bit. Jeez, how long was this on for? Oh, I know why there's more marble. It's because there's bugs everywhere. Oh my god, they're everywhere. Oh my god, there's so many bugs, dude. Oh, why are there so many bugs? I guess we have a little bit of an infestation that we're going to have to clear up. Okay, well anyways, I was going to say that the marble was done. I don't actually know where I put it. It's right here. Yep, they're all done. They're all ready to go. So all we have to do now is find a suitable place to build this thing. And I'm thinking, it's dark out. It's no longer dark out. I'm thinking we're going to try to put it maybe like right here. Because let's see, if we're over here at the border of the Capitol building, you can kind of see right over to that river. So I'm thinking we put it in this square box like this. I think I'm going to cover this up as well. It's just kind of in the way, and you know, if we need to expand our land, this would be a good place to expand to. So I think I'm going to cover that up, but then we put it here, and then what we can do is we can put like a pump next to the river, and that acts as like the water supply for the whole thing, because nuclear power plants, you know, they boil water. It's basically a glorified steam turbine, so you need to get water from somewhere, and I think this river will do nicely. So let me go do a little bit of terraforming, fill this in, or maybe just fill over it. Brother, and then we can go ahead and get this thing built. All right. Oh, and I guess we should clean up the bugs too. Why don't we just do like a extermination montage? That sounds exciting. Okay, bugs have been cleaned up. Now, unfortunately, there is not exactly one stack of each, which has me a bit worried that I missed some. So if any of you have sharp enough eyes to see any more bugs in a time lapse, first of all, nice. But second of all, let me know, because they need to go. I do think I know who did this, though, considering that Woodstock messaged me and asked if I saw what he left for me. So I think I know who did this, and I've got a plan. But first, let's get the reactor building placed. Alrighty, and here we are. We have finally completed the terraforming. So basically, I covered up the hole, added a little bit more terrain over here. I kind of cut it out over here just so it kind of goes in sharply. Over here, I, did a little bit more blending to make it look kind of, smooth. I then added this kind of retaining wall here because I figured, I'm not going to be able to terraform all of this. That's just way too much material. So I figured I'd just add in a wall here. And then if we grab this one, I think, as you can see, the preset, it's going to be basically lined up. And these, the fence, walls are matched up. That kind of, I don't know, it kind of adds to it. Hopefully it'll look good. I would assume it does, considering I can literally see it right now and it looks fine. So, but then let's see, over here, I added this little island. I kind of patched things up over here. I cut out an entire mountain over on this side, rounded off this edge. I guess now we can actually build it. Oh, and there's another thing that I should mention. I totally forgot that my shovel was made out of supremium. So We ended up with 36 prosperity shards just from mining all that sand. So that's very good. We can make some more mystical agriculture stuff because we're going to need it. This is a little bit concerning, you know. It says that we have everything minus the building blocks. Let me just check to make sure everything's in the right place. Yep, looks like it, looks like it. Unfortunately, you can't hold two of these blueprints at the same time, so I kind of have to eyeball it. I think we're good. Now, this has everything we need. Indeed. And you know what? Just to be safe, I'm going to move the other dank knolls into here. I don't want them interfering. So let's just do this right the first time. And we are missing 3 fan blocks, but that's fine because they're already there. But I'm going to go grab 3 just in case it decides to be weird about it. All right, we are good. Are we good? We are good. All right, here we go. Part 1. This is the actual building. Oh, nice. All right. Building in place. Next. Second, building going in. Nice. Of course, we need to put the steam in, but I built that in a really weird way, so I'm going to have to place it separately. All right, number 3. Here we go. Make sure we have everything. Yes, we do. And boom. Oh, yeah, dude. I feel like my computer's going to crash every single time I do this. Hi. Okay, now also, the way that I split this, there is a couple of these large steel lab blocks that are missing, so hopefully I have some extras in here. I have 4, seriously? Boom. And there we go. That is a solid building, I would say. Look at that. Very, very nice. Okay, now let me get these lamps in here. Also, this isn't lit up at all. I just realized. That's a problem. Alrighty, here we are. I have gone ahead and put the lights in. There are these kind of like splotches in here. I don't know what to do about these. But if I hit F7, as you can see, mobs can spawn out there, but they cannot spawn in here. This is where we are going to be putting our Californium-250 factory, and it's going to be quite large, so I'm probably going to need all of this space because of the amount of machines we're going to need, the amount of reactors we're going to have to build, the amount of coolant we're going to have to supply, and the amount of batteries we're going to have to put in here. So I am probably going to need this entire build. I suppose now we need to put in the front door, which I believe goes right here. Looks like it does. Now, I think I'm going to have to do a little bit more terraforming because there's sand right here. Looks like I thought that this whole place was going to be sanded off, so I might just take like a line over here, you know, kind of loop it around and back over there. That should be pretty simple. So I'm going to place this down like so. Front door is now done, which means the whole building is complete. So the next order of business is going to be the Californium-250 factories. We need LEU-233 and LEU-235. Now, it doesn't matter if they're oxide or not. I think it does for one thing, but you can just switch between oxide and not just by smelting it and using a fluid infuser, so it really doesn't matter that much. So we're just going to go oxide all the way because it makes more power. And since the cooling we're going to be using doesn't really matter. So we're just going to use oxide, it'll make more power, and hopefully we can actually run all the machines that we need to actually run the reactors. So LEU-233 and LEU-235, they're composed of uranium-238, uranium-233, and uranium-235. Uranium is going to be the main thing that we need to acquire. More on that later. But anyway, the decayed isotopes of this in the fuel reprocessor, we make Neptunium-237, Plutonium-239, Plutonium-241, and Plutonium-242. Now, to make HEP-241, we need 242 and 241. That is one each, straight into HEP-241 oxide, which then turns into the depleted fuel and gets reprocessed into Curium-247 and 246, HECM-247, Curium-246, and 247. Now, this is the step where oxide does matter because 247, it has to be oxide, which is why I've just decided to go all in on the oxides because 246 and 246 oxide look like to be the same, and it looks like that for the rest of the materials. So, HECM-247 gets put in a fission reactor, fuel reprocessed down into Californium-252 and 251 and 249. And now, HECF-249, 252 and 249. There we go. Run this through a reactor. Process it down, 32 pieces of 250. And this is the most efficient fuel. So we will get 3.5 RTGs per piece of fuel. Sounds like a plan. But I think before we do that, we need to head into Creative World to test more of this. And also, we need to get back at Woodstock for pranking me. He left so many bugs in my house. Alrighty, so we're popped over into the Creative Testing World. And as you can see, I have placed a nice little cicada here because we need to get back at Woodstock for his prank. So I think we should just slap a couple of these guys down just kind of throughout his base. Because, you know, that's basically what he did to me why don't we just do the same? So let's head over here now to the reactor designs. I've already designed a reactor here. I can show you that in a second, but we need to figure out exactly how to get these materials. So let's do 233 oxide first. So uranium ingot is really how this all starts. We need to figure out exactly how to get this. So uranium ore, we could get it from ore pieces, which means we need ender gravel. 30% chance with an iron stiffened mesh, we could do end stone. Let's look how annoying that would be to get. It's a tier 4 seed. So we could technically make this because we have tier 3 essences already. We just need superium seed and then some compressed end stone. That is just end stone. That's pretty simple to do. And then we can make end stone and purpur. And then the end stone we would run through we would crush it with a hammer first, obviously, to make crushed sandstone, and then, or crushed endstone, good grief. Crushed endstone, and then we can get uranium ore, and it also looks like we can get some biomes of plenty gems, which I do think we need, so maybe we'll go down this route, and we'll just have a whole bunch of uranium ore sieves. I think that's going to be the best course of action anyway. But how do you get 233? The only way to do that is do decay harvest Neptunium-237, which I think we actually get from, yeah, Lu-235. We get 8 pieces, which isn't enough to make a full thing, like a full large piece, but it could work. Honestly, I'd be okay with that, but also we're going to get a bunch of other isotopes that we don't know about, so we're going to have to like really see what can happen. So we don't need 245, and we don't need Americium-241. So let me just bookmark these real quick and see what we can do with these. We can decay this into 241, which then decays into 237. Okay. What about Americium-231? 237. Okay, so we can decay the next step into 233. So that's where all of this complicated processing is going to come from. So I think we're good on 233 and 235. We just need a huge source of uranium, which we can get. I think I'm just going to go do a deep like rundown of how all of the decaying works once we actually get this built. Okay, so let's look at this reactor now. So it's currently on, and it's currently at minus 228 power, which is not that good. So basically how this works is I've got it built out like this. So this is the back. This is where everything kind of happens. Basically what we're doing is we are using a dense helium collector, which is the tier 3, I believe. Yep, that is a tier 3. And the way that you get this is just zirconium. So we're going to have to farm zirconium. We need thorium-230, which we can just get. And then basic plating, not going to be too bad. Basically, we just need a lot of these. But then this makes just enough helium that if we supercool it down to liquids, we can run 7 of these active fluid coolers. Now that provides us with a lot of cooling, but I've also thrown in some enderium coolers and a little bit of the redstone coolers in between all of the reactor cells in here, so we can get right up to be able to do a 4x4x4 with 23 cells on the HECF-249. Now, I believe this also makes 166,000 RF per tick, which is quite good, so we'll be sending that into a battery. But I made this one very specific to run this at 23 cells. So I'm going to go with a 4x4x4 footprint for every single one of these, and this one is probably going to be the least efficient because HECF creates a lot of heat. But this one is going to be the one that we have the least of because it's the end of the production chain. So I'm okay with this one only having 23 cells. Every single other one will have a lot more. So basically the pattern that you do is you do the fluid cooler like this, and then you just cram as many cells as you can into the rest of the 4x4 reactor. Because we really don't care about power output, we just care about getting the fuel down to its decayed state, because that is where we get our resources from. So the more cells you have, the faster this goes, the faster this gets produced, and the faster we can make RTGs. So basically all we have to do now is we need to make a bunch of cells, a bunch of the fluid coolers, a bunch of super coolers, dense helium collectors, and the lot. Oh, and also we need to, prank Woodstock. Okay. All right. Well, here we are over at Woodstock Space. Let's place these down. I need to figure out where to put them though, so they'd be the most annoying. I think one right here would be good. I have enough for 4 of these. I just brought paste, so there we go. There's the first one. Perfect. All right, and then I think we put one inside the mansion. Perfect. And that is how you get revenge for a prank. Now I'm going to build all of the components that I need to make the Californium-250 factory. I'm going to forget a bunch of everything, so there's going to be a bunch of jumping back and forth between the factories, so I am going to set up a Enderbook transportation option thingy over there, of course. We're going to need a lot of reactor casings, we're going to need a lot of, reactor cells, we're going to need a lot of coolers, blah, blah, blah. That's just crafting. Crafting is boring, so I will see you when the crafting is done. Oh, no. They're in here, too? Oh, he didn't hit every building, right? Surely. Oh my god, they're in every building? Oh! This means war. Much better. All right, well, I got a decent way through making all of the things that we need, and then ended up realizing that we're going to need a lot more zirconium than I thought. So basically, one helium collector takes 4 zirconium ingots, and 1 zirconium ingot is crafted from the dust. I think you just smelt the dust, right? Yep, smelt the dust down, and then you get the ingots. So we need 4 dust per collector. We need 8 collectors for a compact one. So we need half a stack of dust to make the compact one, which means we need 4 stacks of dust to make the 1 dense helium collector, and we need 5 of these. Wait, the only way that you can get zirconium through a rock crusher and you crush diorite, you get an average of 0.4 zirconium dust per diorite, which means, if my calculations are correct, and I would assume they are, I need approximately 3,200 diorite. I went mining for maybe like 5 minutes or so, and I got 5 stacks. So that's obviously not going to cut it. So why don't we go put our mystical agriculture prosperity shards that we gained this episode to good use and make some seeds. So what seeds do we need to make diorite? Well, let's find out. We need nether quartz and stone. Now, stone is easy. You can literally just make this in a crafting table. Bam, that solves that problem. Now, another problem I have is, what do I do with all this marble? I really don't know. I think I'm just going to leave it there. And then we put the stone seed in there, and that will probably grow stone essence. Okay, sweet. The nether quartz seeds. Now, these we actually have to go up to our starlight crafting altar. We need tier 2 seeds, a tier 3 crafting seed, block of intermedium, and some blocks of quartz, which is easy. And boop, put this in here, and then we will grow nether quartz. Now, I don't know which is going to be faster, but we do need to be 5 to 1. So I'm going to grab the stone here and make some fertilizer. And there's a second seed. I guess now I'm just waiting here until we have enough diorite to have enough zirconium to build the helium collector so I can build the first reactor. Okay, so it is now the next day, which means I have had plenty of time to AFK. Our zirconium, we are up to 11 stacks plus 46, plus we are at 1,284 that I just managed to smelt up right beforehand. All right, so we have everything we need to make the helium collectors. So why don't we actually just get 3 patterns for those? Because, you know, bulk crafting this isn't going to be very fun. The only problem is thorium-230, because we actually have to get thorium-230. Yeah, we kind of have to... it's kind of a process. It won't be that bad. I think it's just process thorium. Another thing we also could do instead of messing through all of this is we just get 238 and we put it through a decay harvester, because 238 you just take as the isotope separator. So why don't we do that? Because I think I'm actually going to get the uranium set up first. Here, I really am running out of space in here. I think I'm just going to dedicate an episode here real quick sometime in the near future to just upgrading the ME system. It's pretty good right now, but man, it needs some upgrades. Since it is the next day, I did take it upon myself to add a few things and, you know, just make sure that I was AFKing properly. So I went ahead and I made 2 stacks of ultimate control circuits. I saw that I was running out of clay when I was making more garden cloches, so I went ahead and made water and dirt essence. This will allow us to make clay, so then I can just have those running in the background and we have clay. Alright, so another thing that I realized, I never made the advanced tier installer last episode. We were going to upgrade our mechanism machines, and lo and behold, zirconium. And we have so much zirconium now. Why don't we go ahead and we make some of these? Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 advanced tier installers. Hey, and that's actually a quest complete. Man, we haven't done a quest in a good while. I say that as if we hadn't done the entire nuclear craft tree last episode. All right, so now let's go ahead and upgrade these machines here. Looks like we're enriching some stuff. Cool. Bam. Okay, now the power draw on this thing is going to be way higher, but luckily I have a nuclear reactor in my basement. Boom, 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 boom. We need ender seeds, also known as end seeds, because we need to actually get uranium somehow, and we are going to be doing that by sieving crushed endstone. We head on over to Potato Master's base and borrow his enchantment table. We can get an enchantment on these called Sieve Fortune. There you go, Fortune 3 right there. Now I did bring an extra one just so we could get efficiency 5, even though it really doesn't matter. We got 2 more seeds. Okay, yep, we're gonna need a lot more. We need 8 total, because that's how many garden cloches I made. 10? Yeah, 11? That'll do just fine, because then we can have some spares as well. Perfect. Also, if you didn't notice, I added a chest down here with all of the mystical agriculture stuff, because, yeah, you know, I log out for the day. There must be some kind of chunk loader in here, because this stuff just kind of keeps running. So I logged out yesterday with 8 stacks of stone essence, and we're now at 185. So I'm not complaining, but you know, it's kind of filling up my chests. Also, you've probably noticed in my inventory, I made another induction matrix because we are going to need to store a lot of power in here. So why don't we go ahead and get this built first. Now, another thing that I need to do is I need to make sure that these are chunk aligned. All the reactors are going to be going on this side. So as long as they're like in the same chunk as the coolant supply, I think we'll be fine. We shouldn't have any meltdowns. Boom, there we go, full building, and there we go, 102 GRF storage. That should be good to go. Now, another thing that I want to do is I want to put the uranium creation over here, because the reactors are going to be going over here, so I think the machines can go in front of them. That seems to be a reasonable thing to do. Yeah, each one of these, I did a little bit of math, takes 240 RF per tick. This is outputting 2.04. Makes sense. All right, anyway, so here we have this. We can put this in the first slot here. Apply. So now we have endstone. It's going in there, and there goes our mesh. Now this should be basically 1-to-1 with the fortune, which is kind of what it's doing. I think there's about, was there 24 in there? Or maybe 36? Okay, maybe there was 48. But anyways, you probably know what it was better than me. We have a lot of uranium ore pieces now. And there we go. Uranium ore has been acquired and will sit right here, except it won't because I want to have a storage drawer for this. And there we go. Uranium ore is coming out of there, going straight into this drawer, and this is where it will reside. Okay, uranium has been acquired. Alrighty, thorium-230 blocks have been acquired. Let's make this helium collector. Dense helium collector. That takes all of this stuff, and it's probably going to take a little bit to craft too, so we're just going to get that started. While that's being made, why don't we just go grab all the resources that we need to build one of these reactors, and I guess let's go start planning it out, because we do need to place it in a very specific place, in a very specific way. So let's turn on chunk borders here. It needs to be here, so let's see. We start at the bottom with the casing. I'm going to go 2 in. Let's leave some room in the back just in case we need it, but here it's going to be fine. All right, so now I'm going to very deliberately leave the top and the front open so we can actually build this thing. Okay, that's not right. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These 3 then need to be the ports because this is where the fluid pipes will be going. And now we have 3 redstone coolers to make sure that everything has redstone cooling. Right there, right there, right there. Because then these 3 have it, these 2 have it, those 2 have it. Okay, perfect. So then we need to put our ports. Ooh, I see. You know what? Let's move these. Put in the basic pipes. That should go into everything. Just to be sure, though, I'm going to grab my configurator and configure everything so that it is okay. Sweet. So that is the cooling system. Now cooling needs to go into here. So then we put our ultimate tank right here. And then we put pipe, pipe, pipe. Now this isn't technically an active system yet, like an active reactor. So that's probably why that's not connecting. Super cooler here. Now this does need to have 9 speed and 9 energy upgrades to actually function correctly. So that's good. And now I think our helium collector should be done. It is. We can grab this and we can place our helium collector right there. Oh, hey, whoa, what do you think you're doing? Why is it white? So why don't we just fix that by moving it over to this side instead of having it nice and compact? We'll just put it right there. Okay, to here gets split off into everything that we needed to. So is this an omen? Let's pretend like that didn't happen, and let's just plug some power in to make sure that this is working. Yep. It is. Helium's going in, looks like. Is everything getting fluid? No, it isn't, because it's going into here. Why is it going into there? I thought they'd be splitting evenly. I may have to reorganize where these ports go, but that's fine as long as this is, in fact, a valid thing here. So now it looks like... Oh, right, yeah, those don't need to be ports. They need to be a different thing, don't they? They need to be like buffer? Was it a buffer? Yes, they needed to be buffers. Okay, so I did place this wrong. Well, that was stupid. Alrighty, buffers acquired. So if I place this, it should automatically connect. There we go. And that just goes in automatically, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, sweet. So let me just do that. Cooling and cooler. Bam, 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 bam. Everything is helium except for that. Why? Oh, I guess we just don't have enough. I would assume that this power is also going to stop working soon, so let's just move it. All right, well, why don't we actually just get this one set up to start making power? That would probably be a good idea. So the first fuel we're going to do is 235, because 235, I believe, just comes straight from processing uranium ingots. But we do need to make them oxide first. So why don't we actually get our ore processor set up for this next, and then we can get the reactor running. Okay, this should be a pretty simple process too. All I have to do is extract from here, run it into this melter, and then into this ingot former. How fast is that? I mean, that's pretty fast, to be fair. So we do need to set up output. There we go. Uranium's going into there. Let's put boom, boom. So then let's grab our isotope separator, and we're going to put this here this time because we're going to need to send it into 2 different drawers, or send this straight into a crafter. So here we are. You can see that we're separating the isotopes like that. So then we need to send the U235 into a compacting drawer. Alrighty, so I got some filter and some speed upgrades. Now I am going to go ahead and put, I think, 2 speed upgrades into this just to make sure that we are actually getting everything in as fast as we need to. I will be checking this for bottlenecks eventually, but for now we're just going to go with it. Okay, so item conduit. I would assume that you can do this, right? Yes, okay, sweet. Alright, so I went ahead and just bit the bullet, and I made 10 tier 1 crafters. Okay, so if we put this right there, we do need to grab our wrench and disconnect that, though. Thank you. There's nothing in here, correct? Good. Let's see, if we grab 1 piece of you, put you into here, grab a 1 piece of you, put you into here, and then we can put remember. Okay, now that is the issue that I was thinking about earlier. It will always remember to have 235 and 238 in there at the same time, which is exactly what we want. So that being said, we are going to always be overflowing on 238. So what I need to do is put a side configuration on this, void excess. Because then it'll void this excess as if it runs out of space, which is exactly what we want, because we don't want it overflowing. All right, so now that should start filling it up with 235 and 238. We can do that and make LEU 235 fuel. And that will go right there. Perfect. We need to oxidize that to make it into 235 oxide because that is in fact what we want. Alrighty, so I went ahead and made our fluid infuser and also the electrolytic separator and the source of water to actually get some oxygen because that is what we need. So let's grab the output from here. Gonna have to use my wrench again here. So let me put this in the fluid infuser and let's go ahead and put the electrolytic separator here. Now, which side is oxygen? I have no idea, so we're just going to go like this. Now, nothing else should take fluids here. If I place this correctly, it doesn't look like it does. Most excellent. Okay, it is getting oxygen. Sweet. We need to dump the excess hydrogen, though. Is that going fast enough? I think so. How much does this need? 4,000? Okay, well, boop, boop. Still running. Jeez, dude. See, the thing is, though, these take so much power. We're at 7 KRF already. Pump this into a drawer. We don't need to have any fancy extract settings on this because it's not going to be that fast anyways. Strap an upgrade in there and a void upgrade. We actually don't need that normal upgrade if we're going to have a void upgrade. Do I care if this overflows? I don't think I do. So why don't we grab our item cables here and let's have the port be right here. Can you actually do this is the real question. Yes, you can. Sweet. Okay, sweet. Okay, sweet. You know what? If I say okay, sweet one more time, that would mean something, right? Okay, sweet. Oh, and it sucked it all up, which is fine. So let's think, what would happen if I were to turn this on? There wouldn't be any cells in there. So I went ahead and I just made 21-ish reactor cells. So I'm going to place them in a grid pattern because we are trying to squeeze the most burn time out of this. I know I'm also missing some coolers like the Enderium stuff. I'm just going to get that later. That should be fine for now. Let's see, what would we look like? 1,500 heat per tick, but we only make 21,000 RF, and we have like so much more heat. So I bet we could fill this entire thing with reactor cells. So let's just do it. $27,000 heat per tick. Is that a lot? I don't know how much heat I make. Probably a better idea to test this with a little bit before it like explodes violently. Okay, so the heat was going because this isn't turned off, but there should be helium in there, no? Okay, now the real concerning thing is these power cables are not going to be enough. I just realized that. Oh no. We're gonna have to start upgrading our power cables. Can we do that yet? We cannot make melodic alloy yet. And we definitely cannot make stellar alloy. Why are we still making so much heat? We shouldn't be doing this. All of these should be active, no? They all have it. If I were to put one casing in here and it still generates heat, then I know the coolers aren't working, right? Yeah, so the coolers aren't working, but why not? Exactly one valid redstone cooler and one reactor casing. I might be stupid. Okay, so the redstone has to be next to reactor cells. So now it should work. Minus 23,000. Okay, so that's our full grid. We have 21,000 heat to work with, so let's just start filling out this entire column here. All right, I think we're going to have to settle for, what was this, 34 cells, minus 615 heat per tick, but we're getting 120,000 power. So let's turn that on. That is not going to blow up, and this is all chunk aligned, so we should be fine. So eventually, this should end up filling up, yes? It's not going in there right now, which is a bit concerning. I don't know, maybe I kind of want to turn this off and just kind of time control a little bit of these things just to make sure that we're actually, like, not going to melt down. I think with that, we now have the first one done. Okay, well anyways, let's just run power like this because I'm stupid. Get this fuel processor going here. We don't need speed upgrades here because that's fine. 238 oxide we don't need. Neptunium-237 we do. And then these two will go to the next place. So we're going to have to set up some filtered outputs for that, but that's fine. So let's grab an item cable. We are definitely going to need some upgrades in here. All right, so that should be good. So now we can take the Neptunium out and we can put this in a decay harvester to get 233. And that's how we're going to run the next one. But we're also going to need more 238 for this. And this doesn't make enough. So I think we're going to have to set up another one of these whole things, which is fine. I don't mind doing that. Kind of annoying. And then also 239 and 238 will be going into making HEP. Oh, it's 241 and 237. No, 239, 241. 241, 242. Okay, so the 241 is going to go over to the next one. 239, yeah, it just decays into 235. I mean, I guess we can set up an efficient system to get more 235, but then that would break other things. I don't really know. And also, it looks like uranium is the bottleneck here, but I think we're going to be fine. So as long as this keeps up, I think now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go build another reactor like this, put it here, make sure everything's aligned properly, and I will cut back when I have everything built nicely because, I mean, you've seen this process. We have to do it 4 more times. There's just going to be some other machines that I have to build to process this stuff and that stuff, but, I mean, we'll cut back and we'll show you that when we're ready. Basically, I'm just building more reactors. Alrighty, here we are a little while later. I have gotten the second reactor up. I've gotten the cooling system in place. Everything is working, even though you can't see it. I don't know why it's not displaying, but it's there, so I don't know. Anyways. This is all working. We're just currently making more helium here, filling up. This reactor, I've turned it on in the meantime because we are full on helium on these two, and this one up here, as you can see up there, is slowly building up. So this is fully active. I've also been keeping an eye out on the uranium supply. This fuel is going up, which is good, because that means there will eventually be an overflow of uranium-238, which I've set up right here. This has a lower priority, so stuff will go into here first, and then here. And as you can see, we do have some extra U-238, but I don't think it's fast enough. So I went ahead and I added 4 more garden cloches. There is space in here to add 4 extra more if we need to. I went ahead and added an extra crafter and an auto hammer and a sieve, though, just in case. And we're basically sending it over to this crafter in this system because it does have the bandwidth available, which now leads us to where we need to start making the 233 oxide fuel, which is the 238 we're going to use from there and here, because we are getting 238, and 233. Now, 233 is going to be the bottleneck right now, but further down the line, we will be able to get more of it, and it will be coming from decay harvesting this 237. So do I have a decay harvester? Does not look like I do. Okay, let me go grab that and another fluid infuser, because we are going to be needing one. I think I'm just going to go straight to making the oxide fuel out of the oxides here, mostly because this is going to end up as 233 oxide anyway. So it's just going to be easier that way, and then we can send this into a fluid infuser instead of sending the entire pellet in there because the pellet takes so much more oxygen. Okay, let me grab those real quick. Alrighty, so I've got those machines already. Let's get this built up. So I think first of all, I'm going to want to power this from this reactor. Unfortunately, though, it's not set up yet, so I'll get that switched over eventually. So for now, we're using this reactor's power. 120,000 RF per tick is nothing to scoff at, even considering that my reactor down there makes about the same. But of course, a lot of this power, 20,000 of it, is going into the cooling. So, I mean, it still technically is making the amount the same. Wow. and insert. Okay, now that will be our 238 oxide. Sweet, and this only takes about 500 or 400 per do, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so now this, we need to take the 238 oxide small pellets out of here and put them into a new, or I guess let's just send them straight to a crafter. That's probably going to be the easier way to do this. There's been a lot of back and forth, as you can see in here. Every time there's a "you're kidding" message, I have teleported either to my base to make more stuff or back to the factory. So it's been a long process. All right, there we go. And I've also just ran out of speed upgrades, so I'm going to have to go back for those as well. Woohoo. All right, well, anyways, the 238's going in here. So what am I doing, dude? And there we go. There's more 238 oxides. So 238 oxide from there, 238 oxide from there. Why don't we just put the decay hastener? It's not harvester, by the way. It's a hastener.
I didn't know that.
Honestly, this is a mess, and this is extremely inefficient, and I basically just went into silent mode, just like, how am I going to do this? And then just built this monstrosity. So basically, 238's from here, 238 is from here. The Neptunium goes into here, turns into the 233, which then gets put into here, and then put into here, and then I'm going to extract from there, there, and there, put it into here, remember the slots, make the thing, and go into there, which then goes into there. God, okay, and there we go. There is our 233 fuel. I guarantee you this one is now going to be the bottleneck as of now. Eventually, it won't be, because we'll have a whole bunch of other things making more 233 and maybe more 238 if we need it. But for now, yeah. And then let's see how we're doing. Minus 21,000 heat. Yikes. Well, I think we know what that means. Let's add some more. I'm going to just do that. Minus 9,000. Okay, we can still go. Minus 900 heat per tick. I think that's fine. Now, let's just check in on this to make sure that we're not going to melt down. 11,000 up from 6. Okay, we're good. Now, this is also filling up. I wish I could... I know, actually, I can do that. Hold on. Let me go do that really quick. I was about to say, I wish I could like make a drawer downgrader, but that is a thing. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now we have a whole bunch of this extra fuel, which would be nice to burn through. I don't think I can, though. A bit unfortunate I spent all this time generating all this, but I mean, hey, we're farming it, so whatever. This will stay at a stack, which means this will eventually overflow. So technically we'll have 3 stacks of storage. One here, and then one here. Technically I don't really need this buffer, but it's nice to see there in case I do need to take a piece for something. All right, awesome sauce. And now, did I really just say awesome sauce, bro? Oh my god. And it looks like this buffer is completely full as well. And now the ultimate tank is filling up because we left it sitting for so long. So if I turn this on, we got power. Nice. Okay, now are we doing good here? This is still going up. I saw a 410. If we see above a 4, okay, 415, yeah, okay, we're good. That's filling up. Okay, sweet. So now the real thing that we want to do is this whole system now, we cut off from this, and we power it with this. So now this reactor will power its own cooling and its own processor. I think we're good. So if we separate all the power systems, then it's going to be much better. This battery, kind of redundant, but it is powering this. And if this stops, then everything else stops. So I'm perfectly okay with having a battery backup for that. Okay, but now this reactor's done, which means we should be receiving our first depleted 233, which if we put into the fuel reprocessor, we get 242 and 241. I believe 241 is what we're doing. Okay, well, anyways, this is now good to go. Reactor 2 is completed. Probably should grab a fuel reprocessor and put another drawer down just to seal this fate. All right, and there we go. That looks like we are done. 239, 242, 241, and americium 243. Now, what can we do with this 243? We can decay it into 239, which I don't think that actually works for us. That gives us more 235. That's not really useful. 235 is fine. Okay, well, anyways, I guess we're going to have to put a void upgrade on this one just so it'll void the excess garbage that we don't need. I guess we can also put a upgrade on there and then maybe one here just for good measure. But I think we're good. Now, this is building up on LEU 233. I wonder if we're actually making an excess amount of this. Okay, I think that's our second reactor down and split into its isotopes. So I guess the next order of business is I build the third reactor, which is for ep.241. Great, more complicated machines, hooray. Okay, all things considered, this reactor is probably the easiest one I've done. Basically, all I did was I took the 241 and 242 from here and dumped it into this crafter, and the 241 from here also into this crafter. It then crafts them up into their main components. Since they're already oxides, we don't even have to worry about any fluid infusion. puts it into these drawers for temporary holding, straight into this crafter, which then makes the HEP-241 oxide. Just like that. And we've already got it pumped into the reactor, and all we got to do now is put in the cells and see how many we can do. This one was the easiest one, and I have a feeling it's going to be very simple for the rest of these as well. Also, I went ahead and made glowstone seeds because I ran out of glowstone and I'm sick of tearing apart my nether. All right, let's get this reactor going. I have got my cells right here. And boom. Okay, let's see. How are we doing? Wow. If I did like that. Oh my god, dude, what is this stuff? This stuff makes some heat. The exact zipper is going to be how much we're going to have to do for this. That one's hot. How are we going to do HECF-249? How did I even do that? Anyways, I'm not going to turn this on, though, because the helium is not evenly distributed or even close to fully distributed, unlike these two. As you can see over here, this is starting to fill up. And these are also full. You just can't see them for some reason. I don't know why. Same for here. That's full. But hey, third reactor down. That's not too bad. I guess let's go grab the decay hastener and the drawer here, and then we can call this one done as well. Alrighty, there we go. Got our fuel reprocessor, our reprocessing fuel. Unfortunately, can't turn this back on because of the helium issue again. But anyways, we are now making americium-241 and curium-245, 46, and 47. Sweet. Now let's look into what all these do. Americium-241 can... neptunium-237, which then decays into 233, which is exactly what we need. We need to keep 47 and 46, so 45, which is up here. What do you do? Decay into 241, which also decays into 237. But I think we're actually running out of 241 over here. Yeah, we are. Okay, so I have to make a decision. Do I want to decay this into 233 or 241? Since we already have the americium that decays into 233, why don't we do this to 233 and this to 241? That would probably be the best course of action. So let me get that set up and then build the next reactor and then cut back to when I'm about to build. Or I'm about to get ready, I guess, because building, I already done it. Okay, well, we'll see you in a bit when stuff has happened, I guess. Okay, everything is in working order. We've got the americium-241, I think, going to this one and then getting hauled all the way up around and into here to get turned into U-233. We've got the other one, curium-245, I think, going into here, turning into the plutonium, and then going into here. Basically copied this system straight over to here, takes in the curium-247 and 246, and makes HECM-247 oxide. Perfect. So all we got to do is we got to grab our cable, we can run it in. I guess we can do the exact same thing we did last time. And there we go, HECM-247. Now, we need to go add in our coolers, and another thing that I forgot to mention. My helmet has a night vision feature. I wish I knew that earlier. Unfortunately, though, if you're standing in broad daylight, even under a roof, you get blinded. But maybe it's just because there's a certain light level. I don't really know. But anyways, if you're in the broad daylight or next to a light, you get blinded, which I think is a cool feature. Anyways, so now that I can actually see what I'm doing, let's put these in place. I don't think I have enough helium to go into all of these, but we do have enough to go into these three. And then I think I need to, do some... By the way, this one's slow. I think we're actually running out. Yeah, 29. We might be going up just barely. This one is... Jeez, dude. It gets slower and slower each reactor we get to. That's to be expected. But still, we're at minus 11,600 and some. Which means I should be able to do this, right? Minus 3,000. And that, I think, is about all that we can get to. I could not fit another one in. Hey, but we got up to 25 instead of 24. So, hey, look at that, dude. Which one burns faster, though? This does burn slower. So, I guess that's actually good that we got an extra cell in there so we keep the efficiency going. Okay, well, we just got to wait for this to fill up again. But we have a piece of depleted, which means we can set everything up to get it correctly orientated. Just like that. All right, I will go do that. And then I'll get this next reactor built. And then this will be the last one, and then we actually can finally make the RTGs. Alrighty, we are back. Got the 5th reactor built. Final one, by the way. Also went ahead and locked these drawers here and these. I forgot to lock these. This one, though, unfortunately, you cannot do anything with the byproducts. Berkelium-248 and Californium-251. Berkelium could go straight into thorium, which we can't use anything for this factory. And 251, I think, just decays into 235 again. Which is, again, not all we needed. But we should have just made our first piece of HECF 249. Yep, where is it? I think it got consumed. Yeah, HECF 249. Perfect. Okay, so we just made our first piece. Let's start putting in the cells here. Now, I'm fairly certain if we put in all 24 cells in our grid pattern, it's still not going to be enough. I'm fairly certain I had to place in some other coolers in here. I think I needed an Enderium one. So I made a couple of those. I've also made some extra redstone coolers. Hopefully that will be enough. See, we're still making 1700 heat, and that is a problem. There we go. Okay, I think that's stable. And we'll just turn it on just for this one. 166,000 RF per tick is crazy, by the way. Looks like the processing time is about a minute. So all we got to do now is we wait for that. We run it through the fuel reprocessor. We put it into this drawer here, and then technically it's done. Wow, that's actually kind of crazy. This whole factory is almost done. This is a huge process, by the way. Good grief. I mean, I did make this really fast. Most people, I think, they make exactly enough for what they need and they don't do it again. But RTGs are just very convenient, so I figured it would be nice to have a factory of them because one RTG can run 3 garden cloches. So, I mean, you know, it might be nice to just have a whole bunch. Boom. And let's turn that off just to be sure. We want everything to fill up with helium before we actually go into any active running, you know. All right, so that's processed. There's our 250. So I guess now if we take 9 of these, of course, this will be an automated process eventually, but Californium-250 oxide. Now we need to smelt this, I believe, to get rid of the oxide. And Californium-250. Now, what can you do with that? A Californium RTG. And here we go. Californium RTG. Bam. End of the line. Oh boy, that is a process. 5 reactors, all of this spaghetti piping and machinery. Jeez, dude, all to make that. Okay, well, I guess it is now technically done, although I would like to spiffy some things up, make sure things are working properly, you know, just in case. So I'm going to get everything spiffied up, probably going to take a little bit, and it's going to AFK at this as well. So hopefully the helium will be up, and then we can have some more Californium-250 when I get back. Alrighty, here we are, about half an hour-ish later. We are now up to 34 pieces of Californium-250. That is enough for 34 RTGs. That is perfect. Now, we are getting bottlenecked. We are getting bottlenecked here at the ep.21 factory because we cannot make enough of the 241. That is currently the bottleneck. And I did look, you cannot get 241 without also creating a bottleneck over here at the HECM-247. The only way to get more production of that is to make more reactors, and honestly, for half an hour and 34 pieces of Californium-250, I think this factory is perfectly fast. I could AFK here for maybe a couple hours, and then I probably would never have to do it again because I probably won't be needing too many of these, but I will be needing some. All right, I also went ahead and added a little smelter system and a crafter over here just so we could have a nice single place to get our Californium-250. That is going to do it for this episode. We got a lot of stuff done. We built the entire nuclearcraft building that we're currently standing in, as well as made the whole factory behind me, which, by the way, is quite large. That's going to be it for today. Nuclearcraft is complete, at least for now. We will have to come back to it when we need to build a fusion reactor, but that's a little bit a ways away. But that's a little bit down the road. I think next episode we're probably either going to do industrial craft or we're going to upgrade the ME system because there's a few things that I was crafting today that quite literally took the whole time because I didn't have any automation for them. So we're going to do those 2 things in the next 2 episodes. Which will we do first? I do not know. I guess we'll find out next time. Goodbye.
Mr. Krabs, can I have a